All right, everyone, welcome back to another deep dive. Today, we're tackling something that I think a lot of us have been curious about, server management. And to help us really get to the bottom of this, you've sent over some articles from PCS. They're a tech company, right?
Yeah, PCS is really well known for their server management solutions, so their stuff should be pretty insightful.
For sure. And it looks like they lay out 5 key benefits of server management: cost effectiveness, having access to real experts, reducing downtime, better security, and then scalability.
So much to unpack. But before we jump into all of that, can we even just like back up for a second? What even is server management? I feel like some people might be a little fuzzy on what that actually means.
Oh, yeah, good point. It's definitely one of those things that can seem kind of mysterious if you're not in the tech world. I guess the easiest way to think about it is that your servers are basically the engines that drive your whole network. They're constantly processing and delivering information, and server management is all about making sure those engines are running smoothly and securely and efficiently. So it's not just like you plug in a server and then just kind of cross your fingers and hope for the best.
Uh-huh. Definitely not. It's way more involved than that. We're talking about everything from like making sure the software's up to date and installing those security patches, the ones that pop up and you just keep hitting remind me later, to things like monitoring the server's performance and troubleshooting any problems that come up.
Gotcha. So the first benefit that PCS mentions is cost effectiveness. And they're really making a case for using managed service providers, MSPs. And I get that, but I don't know, wouldn't it be cheaper in the long run to just have your own IT team in-house?
I think that's what a lot of people assume, but the thing is, there are a lot of hidden costs that come with building and managing your own team. You've got salaries, obviously, but then you've also got benefits and training and, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And especially in IT, things are changing so fast. You constantly have to be upskilling your team to keep up with the latest technology, and that gets expensive too. I mean, think about all the certifications people need, security frameworks, cloud platforms. It's a lot to keep up
Oh,
with.
for sure. It's like every time you turn around, there's some new tech
Yeah.
or some new threat.
Exactly. And then you've got the whole recruitment side of it. Trying to find and hire people with those very specific skills, that can be a nightmare.
That's true. I hadn't even really thought about that. So what you're saying is that it might actually be cheaper to go with an MSP, at least in some situations.
Yeah, for a lot of businesses, especially smaller ones, it just makes more financial sense. You get access to that whole pool of expertise without having to deal with all the overhead of an in-house team.
Makes sense. And
Yeah.
speaking of expertise, I mean, that's the next benefit PCS brings up.
Mhm.
It's kind of funny because I immediately thought of that time. Remember how I tried to fix my own Wi-Fi
Oh, yeah.
and ended up with no internet for like a whole week?
Yeah, I think we've all been there at some point.
Total disaster.
I knew.
But it's a good reminder that even for something that seems simple, like Wi-Fi, having that specialized knowledge is so important.
Absolutely. And with server management, the stakes are even higher. I mean, you're dealing with really complex systems, security protocols. It's a whole different ballgame than just plugging in a router.
Right, right. So MSPs basically come in with all of that knowledge already built in.
Exactly. They have teams of specialists who are experts in all different areas, network engineering, cybersecurity, you name it. So whether it's just routine maintenance or you've got some kind of a major server emergency, they've got you covered.
So it's like having this whole IT department on call without having to, actually manage an IT department.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You get the expertise you need when you need it without having to worry about recruitment or training or any of that HR stuff.
Okay, that's super helpful. So we've covered cost effectiveness and expertise, but what about reducing downtime? It seems like PCS is really emphasizing that as a major benefit of using an MSP.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge one, especially these days when everything is so reliant on technology.
Seriously, I mean, think about it. If your email went down right before a big presentation, total nightmare.
It would be. And it's not just about inconvenience either. Downtime can really hurt a business, You lose productivity, you potentially lose customers. It can have a real impact on your bottom line.
For sure. So how do MSPs actually help with that?
Well, one of the biggest things is that they offer 24/7 monitoring and support. So, like you were saying, you don't have to worry about waking up in the middle of the night because your server crashed.
Right, because someone is always watching it.
Exactly. They're basically acting as proactive guardians of your servers. They're constantly scanning for potential issues and addressing them before they can cause any major disruptions.
Ah, I see. So it's not just about fixing problems when they happen, it's about preventing them in the first place.
Exactly. And they have all these sophisticated monitoring tools and systems that can detect even the smallest issues. So a lot of times they can fix things before you even realize there's a problem.
That's amazing. It's like having a whole team of IT firefighters on standby, just waiting to put out any fires that might pop up.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a good analogy. And it really does give you so much peace of mind knowing that your servers are in good hands.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about cost effectiveness, expertise, and reduced downtime. What about security? I feel like that's such a big concern these days, especially with all the cyber attacks you hear about in the news.
Yeah, security is more important than ever, and that's definitely an area where MSPs can really shine. They're on the front lines of cybersecurity, so they're constantly updating their knowledge and implementing the latest security tools and protocols to protect your servers and data.
So it's not just about having a good firewall and some antivirus software.
Nope, it goes way beyond that. They use things like intrusion detection systems, vulnerability scanning, data encryption, multi-factor authentication. It's a whole arsenal of security measures that most businesses wouldn't have the resources or expertise to implement on their own.
That's really reassuring, especially for someone like me who is, not exactly a tech expert. I would be so lost trying to figure all of that out.
It's a lot to keep up with, and that's another advantage of working with an MSP. They have dedicated security specialists who are constantly researching emerging threats and updating their defenses, so you don't have to.
I like that. It's like having your own personal security team, constantly patrolling your digital fortress and making sure no one's sneaking in.
Haha, that's a good way to put it. They're basically your eyes and ears in the digital world, constantly vigilant and protecting your valuable data from all those cyber threats.
Okay, so we've covered cost effectiveness, expertise, reduced downtime, and security. What's left?
Scalability, right. I'm not even sure what that means, to be honest. Scalability is all about being able to adapt to changing needs. So, for example, let's say your business is growing or you're suddenly dealing with a huge surge in website traffic. Your server infrastructure needs to be able to handle that increased demand without, crashing or slowing down.
So it's kind of like having a server setup that can grow with your business.
Yes, exactly. MSPs are really good at providing flexible solutions that can scale up or down as needed. They can add more server resources, upgrade your hardware, or even migrate you to a cloud-based platform if that makes sense for your situation.
So it's almost like having a server setup that's always one step ahead, just ready to handle whatever challenges come your way.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. And that's really the beauty of working with an MSP. They take care of all that complex, ever-changing world of server management, so you can just focus on running your business.
This has been super eye-opening. We've talked about cost effectiveness, access to experts, reducing downtime, increased security, and scalability. It's clear that having a good MSP on your side can make a huge difference. But now I'm kind of curious, what about the future of server management? It seems like technology is always evolving, so what do you see coming down the pipeline?
That's a great question. One of the biggest trends I'm seeing is this move towards what's called serverless computing.
Serverless computing. I think I've heard that term before, but I'm not really sure what it means.
So basically, instead of having your own physical servers, you're essentially renting computing power from a cloud provider as you need it. It's kind of like, I don't know, instead of owning a car, you just use a ride-sharing service whenever you need to get somewhere.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. So you don't have to worry about maintaining the car or paying for insurance or any of that. You just pay for the rides you take.
Exactly. And in the case of serverless computing, you don't have to worry about managing the underlying infrastructure or paying for all that expensive hardware. You just pay for the computing power you use.
That's interesting. It seems like serverless computing could really open things up for smaller businesses and startups who might not have the resources to invest in a traditional server setup.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of levels the playing field in a way because it gives everyone access to these really powerful computing resources without all the upfront costs and overhead.
That's pretty cool. What other trends are you seeing?
Another big one is the increasing role of AI and automation in server management.
Yeah, it seems like AI is everywhere these days. But how is it actually being used in server management specifically?
So, for example, there are AI-powered tools that can analyze huge amounts of data from your servers and identify potential issues before they even happen. And they can also automate a lot of those routine tasks that IT professionals used to have to do manually, like patching software or backing up data.
So it's kind of like having this AI assistant working alongside your IT team, making sure everything is running smoothly and efficiently.
Yeah, exactly. And this trend is only going to accelerate in the coming years. As AI gets more sophisticated, it's going to have a huge impact on the way servers are managed and operated.
This is all super fascinating, but I have to admit, it's a little overwhelming to think about keeping up with all of these changes. Any advice for our listeners on how to stay ahead of the curve?
That's a good point. I think the most important thing is just to stay curious and informed. Read industry publications, attend webinars, follow thought leaders on social media. There are tons of resources out there that can help you stay up to date on all the latest trends and technologies.
So it's really all about continuous learning and being willing to embrace the fact that technology is always changing.
Exactly. The world of server management is definitely not for the faint of heart, but it's also incredibly exciting and rewarding. If you're willing to put in the time and effort to stay informed, you can really leverage technology to your advantage.
That's great advice. Well, I think this has been an amazing deep dive into the world of server management. We've learned so much about its benefits, the role of MSPs, and what the future holds for this, I guess, rapidly changing field.
I've really enjoyed talking about this. It's something I'm really passionate about, so I'm always happy to share what I know.
And a huge thank you to you, our expert,
Mm-hmm.
for taking the time to break all of this down for us. You've been incredibly helpful.
My pleasure. It's been great chatting with you.
To our listeners, if you found this deep dive helpful, we encourage you to explore the topic further. There are tons of resources available online, and who knows, maybe this will even inspire you to dive into a tech career yourself.
Yeah, the tech world is always looking for talented people, so don't be afraid to jump in and see where it takes you.
Now that you've heard all about the benefits of server management, think about your own setup. Is there one benefit that we discussed that stands out as being the most relevant to you right now? Maybe it's the cost savings of using an MSP, or maybe it's the peace of mind that comes with enhanced security. Whatever it is, we hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and confidence to make informed decisions about your technology needs, both for your business and for your personal life.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, especially in the tech world.
Well said. Thanks again for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, stay curious. So it sounds like the future of server management is going to be all about automation, AI, and cloud-based solutions. It's kind of crazy to think about how much has changed even in just the last few years.
Yeah, it's been a pretty wild ride, and I think it just highlights how important it is to find an MSP that's not just keeping up with all these changes, but actually embracing them, like really integrating those new technologies and approaches into their services.
Right, you wouldn't want to be stuck with an MSP that's still using yesterday's technology.
Exactly. You want someone who's forward-thinking, innovative, and always looking for ways to give you those cutting-edge solutions to keep up with your needs as they change.
Well, this has been a truly fascinating deep dive into the world of server management. We've learned so much about the benefits, the role of MSPs, and kind of what the future holds for this critical field.
It's been a pleasure getting to share some of my insights with you and the listeners.
A huge thank you to you, our expert, for walking us through all of this. It can be a pretty complex topic, but you made it so clear and easy to understand.
Oh, thanks. It was my pleasure.
And to our listener, if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, we really encourage you to explore this topic further. There are tons of resources out there online, and who knows, maybe this will even inspire you to explore a career in tech.
It's a fascinating field with so many possibilities. And even if you don't become a tech expert, I think just having a basic understanding of server management can really help you make better decisions about your own technology needs, whether it's for your business or just your personal life.
Absolutely. Now that you've heard all about the benefits of server management, think about your own setup. Is there one benefit that stands out as being the most relevant to you right now? Maybe it's the cost savings of using an MSP, or maybe it's that peace of mind that comes with better security. Whatever it is, we hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and the confidence to navigate the world of server management with, I guess, more clarity and more purpose.
Well said.
Thanks again for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.